So here's the thing, guys. I freaking love the month of October. I consider myself kind of an amateur goth at best, but this is the one time of year everyone is on that spooky wavelength and I get to share creepy games with all of you guys. Games like this one. Frankenstein Through the Eyes of the Monster is based on the classic Victorian horror novel turned classic 1930s horror movie. A little more based on the movie than on the novel, as most things are. And it's, more importantly, one of the first computer games I ever played, and might be responsible for my obsession with FMV games now that I think about it. I think I might need an objective pair of eyes on this one. One moment.
Hey, Nick.
Whoa! You almost made me spill my root beer. How'd you get in here?
Hey, you know how we talked about collabing a while ago? I think I could use your help reviewing this game.
I'd like to, but I got a lot of homework coming up, some late assignments I gotta make up. Got some art commissions,
Awesome. So let's dive into Frankenstein Through the Eyes of the Monster.
How did I get here? Where's my root beer? Not to worry. I always keep an extra. Do you want one?
Oh, yeah.
Where am I? What is happening to me? Gabrielle? Gabrielle? Where are you?
Frankenstein Through the Eyes of the Monster is, well, a story experienced through the eyes of Frankenstein's monster.
Calling it this
You play as Philip Warren, a man wrongly accused and hung for the murder of his daughter in a sequence that was apparently way too cool to actually show on screen.
Come along. Now! For the heinous crime of murder, your own daughter, I sentence you to hang by the neck until dead. May God have
What wasn't too cool to show you, however, is Dr. Frankenstein himself, played by none other than Tim freaking Curry.
He's alive. Alive! I have created life.
Which I mean, like 95% of the game is just Tim Curry monologuing, and I'm okay with that. I mean, those are some of the best parts of the game anyway.
Modesty be damned. I am a genius.
Philip is understandably shocked and confused by all that has happened, and he decides to pry around the castle a bit, but not before he hears about...
Energy L. Energy L. An undiscovered element, number 86 on this periodic table. I call it Lifestone.
Honestly, I sort of respect the effort this game put into its technobabble. It's not super believable, but they did at least put some thought into it.
That looks like a vastly improved version of that Russian scientist Tesla's lightning coil.
Ah, yes. Famed Russian scientist. Nikola Tesla, famous Russian. From Russia.
Maybe they were going for period-accurate ignorance?
No, he's from Russia. He's Russian.
The game's first set of puzzles revolve around setting up your own experiment. Philip wants to verify that he's actually been reanimated, and so you have to pilfer some of the doctor's stuff to do your own experiment on a turkey leg. There are plenty of places around the castle to wander, but it won't be long before you realize that most of the doors are...
Locked. Locked. Locked.
Thankfully, that's just one area of the game. I'm sure they won't do that again. After you finally get all the components you need, You conduct the experiment, and nothing really happens. Discouraged, Philip decides to eat the turkey leg and take his final sleep, Dr. F having previously mentioned that you die if you fall asleep for some reason.
It doesn't matter if I'm alive or if I'm dead. Nothing matters. I just want peace. So tired. I'm so hungry. It's over. I will not go on with this heinous nightmare. This turkey leg shall be my last, the meal of a condemned man. Me.
Philip is denied his eternal rest, however, as it turns out the turkey leg was resurrected after all. Insofar as much as you could resurrect a turkey leg anyway.
This big juicy piece of chicken there flopping around.
Realizing that this is, in fact, the real life and not just fantasy, Philip decides to escape the castle and clear his name. Searching across the castle grounds, you come across a few different passages which lead you to...
And another maze. Literally a hedge maze this time. Made for creativity, I guess.
I mean, even Myst used a couple of mazes. I'm sure they wouldn't do this like more than 2 times. As you explore the castle grounds, you find more and more letters and diary entries that hint that Dr. F might have something he's not telling you. Along the way, you also discover... I mean, this one is more of like a forked path, so it's not really... Okay, it's a maze.
Isn't this where we meet,
Oh, hey, dirt!
something this after all?
In the caves beneath the castle, you eventually bump into a disembodied hand who calls himself Dirt.
It's just a pathetic piece of flesh. I wonder, how dangerous is this creature?
Gabrielle, good. No hurt, Dirt. Left is right.
The game really wants you to throw rocks at him, her, them, it. But letting the little scamp wander off is actually the only way to get the best ending. Did I mention this game has multiple endings? After a little more exploration, you'll bump into Dr. F once more. He seems to have finally noticed you took one of his life crystals and is none too happy about it.
Now, Philip, I admire your curious nature and applaud your industriousness, but you have meddled in affairs that do not concern you. My notes are quite confidential. If you do not return them immediately, let me simply say that it was I who gave you life, and it is mine to take away.
Luckily, it's still up in your nook, so you just go grab it and... ooh, well, that's a boo-boo.
Where is the experiment? I swear on my daughter's grave I left them right here.
After a few minutes of searching for the crystal, you will find the doctor waiting for you in the main hall.
He's just standing there, menacingly.
He's pretty ticked now and pulls a gun on you, leading you down into the dungeon where he leaves you chained to the wall. Fortunately, someone drops you a key allowing you to escape. Just hop into the grate, up the ladder, and... oh, come on!
That's it. I'm looking up a walkthrough.
I mean, how short would this game even be without all these bloody mazes padding it out? Finally free to wander once more, you discover a lock combination, along with more letters that prove Frankenstein was behind your death all along. Yeah, no, that's not really...
I could have pieced that together.
Yeah,
it's pretty obvious.
There,
yeah,
really.
We're not that hard.
With the combination, you are able to confront Dr. F. He's still strapped from before, but worse than that, he's also armed with some really mean words that send Philip on a trip to Emoville.
You are brilliant, yes. But you are also a careless, selfish, irresponsible drunk, always blaming someone for something when the real problem is you. You're pathetic.
He's right. I am all those things. A failure, a drunk, and a murderer. First my wife, then my daughter. I can't bear this any longer. I am truly mad.
And if that wasn't enough, you also encounter these guys?
You should have stayed dead, child killer.
Are you supposed to be here?
This is one of the only point-and-click games that I've ever seen that your actions are actually time-sensitive. It actually matters how quickly you act. Makes those scenes way more intense, which I actually enjoyed that a lot.
Hiding from the gunmen, you find a really cheesy metaphor for gender dysphoria? Oh, it actually turns out to be a woman named Sarah who guides you to safety.
Hey, what are you waiting for?
The more I look at her, the more I am struck by her beauty. God, she must be repulsed by me. And yet, she helps me.
Oof. You know, I said the same thing when a cis girl first showed me how to do makeup. Sarah says she knows children are being kidnapped, and thinks that Dr. F might have something to do with it. Apparently, though, she still trusts him enough to think she can reason with him after you show her the incriminating evidence you found earlier.
I have to go, Philip. I must find the doctor. I need an explanation.
A strangely well-timed earthquake pads out the story, though, and you end up having to save Sarah from,
I can't go any
Wait a minute. If a creature doesn't turn out how he wants, does Dr. F just yeet them down into the mines below his castle?
Yeah?
The same mines, mind you, that he still uses to mine lifestone crystals and to accept black market deliveries of dead bodies. It just seems like a big work hazard to me.
Well, he is a mad scientist, after all. Not really known for the most rational decisions.
Escaping the creature, you find that Dr. F has rigged the delivery point with explosives as a way of eliminating his co-conspirators who he fears might blackmail him.
Oh my God, Philip, what about the children? This bomb will destroy them all. We mustn't try to disable the bomb ourselves. It's too dangerous, Philip. We must find Dr. Frankenstein. He'll be able to help somehow.
Sarah finds and confronts Victor in what might be the most dialogue-heavy scene in the game so far. It's around this point you really start to realize this is one of the few games that might have actually been better as an interactive movie than a full game. You can pretty much always count on Tim Curry to give a good performance in even the worst stuff. The guy playing Philip, Robert Rothrock, does a pretty good job, and even Rebecca Wink, who plays Sarah, does a decent enough job with her lines, even if she was maybe always more cut out for voice acting. And the game provides an atmosphere that keeps you invested in the story. Even the puzzles all make some kind of logical sense in the context of where they are, carrying some kind of apparent purpose in the world. It's just all this darn maze padding that gets in the way of what would be a really good experience otherwise. Dr. F refuses to believe any live children are at stake, and locks you both in the study with an additional trap set up should you escape.
He set a trap for us. Some kind of automatic gun that was triggered by my opening the door. It could have killed me. But why didn't it?
Now, if you're nice to Dirt earlier, he'll actually take the bullet,
Philip,
saving Sarah, dying a brave, off-screen death.
it's dead.
If you caved in and threw a rock at him earlier, though, Sarah gets murked. Rip.
Hurry, Philip.
Either way, that bomb is ticking, so you need to get back to the harbor. You show up just in time to see the bomb explode, killing your daughter for real this time.
Gabrielle! Dead! Wait a minute. The crystal.
Luckily, having only been killed seconds ago, she's really mostly dead and can be resurrected the same way you were. If you've been paying attention to the doctor's notes this far, then you probably have a good idea on how to solve the game's last puzzle. If not, you get another bad ending.
But I think we did everything right this run through, so let's see what the good ending is.
Philip, my God, you stupid idiot! What do you think you're doing? You'll never master my science.
Daddy, we're alive. I love you.
So that's it. That's what happens to Frankenstein. He just lets you go after trying to kill you like 3 times before. He just lets you walk out. Live. What?
Yeah, and who stole your life crystal machine in that early part of the game? How do you and your daughter live happily, even though you're like both immortal abominations that are probably going to get hunted by every village you stay in?
It wasn't even that bad of a game. I mean, the puzzles were nice. They were interesting, compelling. The story was a good twist on the classic tale that we all are familiar with.
Yeah. And then they just had to go and pad it out with those mazes. And they just blue ball you with this ending. Like they ran out of money partway through because Tim Curry's paycheck was too much. And then they just had to like scramble to finish the game. I guess do check this game out. The Saturn version is currently selling for stupid prices, but the PC and Mac version is actually pretty easy to obtain. Just don't check it out without a walkthrough handy.
Alright, well, it's been fun and all, but I've wasted enough time as it is. I got homework and stuff I need to get to, so I should really be going. Catch you later. The heck is Gothos?
Like a parachute.